Hi, this is Love's Playbook, Chapter 6, A Time to Act. There are times when love requires boundaries, decision, and action. They were sad but relieved the next day when they came together. This time, Ruach opened the discussion. I've been thinking so strongly that our best plan to lay out truth is to go ahead with our new order of beings. I don't know if you've heard, but Lucifer has represented us as withholding from him what he needed to be successful, because he had to operate within the laws we set up. He claims that if allowed to rule, he'd set up a kingdom without law. All could pursue their own happiness without interference and be supremely happy. He promises them what he's had only glimpses of and makes us sound selfish and demanding. If we share our dominion and procreation in our new world, it will silence him. I have been thinking along those same lines, Michael continued. To simply lay out the facts again will not do now. He has so twisted things that many of his sympathizers couldn't hear us. And then it is just our word against his. We must show who we are more clearly than ever, so that everyone can draw their own conclusions. The attitudes of some of them towards me have completely changed. I know, sighed Abba. Lucifer came to me the other day saying that the angels desired that he fill your position. Where would they get that? He is beginning to show his hand. He must be allowed time to develop his character. We must think further ahead about this. Abba shook his head. I am sure you have both thought about what will happen to Lucifer and his followers when we banish them. They will die, and everyone watching will think we killed them. I have been hoping it wouldn't come to open revolt because their deaths will produce such fear that everything he has said about us and our way will look true. It will be a matter of time until it produces revolt again. No one here has ever experienced death. The hole their deaths would leave, especially with so many, the sadness and awfulness of it would set them looking for someone to blame, and that would be us. Ruach interjected. Then they must all be kept alive until Lucifer's character and his way are clearly seen in the effect he causes. But I don't know how much longer we can have them here. His discontent is becoming anger, even though he has nothing to protect. Abba continued, I agree that the new world we have been discussing for so long would be the ideal demonstration. We would be creating free beings and stepping back to let them influence and condition their offspring until the children are old enough to know us themselves. If they succeed, it would be the clearest demonstration to the universe of how giving and unselfish love is. But there is one problem, the probability of their failure with Lucifer around to harass them. And if they fail, their progeny will all be born under the law of sin and death because of the design of transmission. They will hand down their disaffection through their physical beings. What a disadvantage they would have. What suffering it would bring on them. Not to mention that they will die, and it will be blamed on us. Is creating this kind of world, this new order of delicate freedom, really worth it? I know you have said you will be their security, Michael, but look how he has affected the minds of even those who have known us for ages. New beings wouldn't know us. They would be so vulnerable in their innocence. Even your presence, Ruach, might not be enough because they wouldn't realize their danger and ask for help. The risk. Ruach responded first. We could put limits on how Lucifer or any of his could approach the new beings, say at only one spot. And then we could warn them about it and their danger there. After a time, they will be strong enough to pass the test, and once proved, we can remove it and the ones who demanded it. Michael will go and spend time with them every day and educate them about everything that has happened. It would be great solace for him. He has lost his best friend and is now the brunt of his attacks. Abba nodded agreement. But the universe will love these new beings, and if they fail and die, I don't know that it would turn out to be the demonstration we had hoped. They must see that separation from us, from the law of life, causes death. But will this new world truly show that if they fail? It will, but will they be able to see it correctly with Lucifer around? We must change his name. This one doesn't fit with him spreading his lies and putting his spin on everything. Michael's offer. They sat quietly, deep in thought, and then Michael spoke slowly and deliberately. I will be their surety as well as their security. I will become one of them if they fail, just like I became an angel. The other two gazed at Michael long before responding. Finally, Abba, leaning forward, asked, Are you really realizing what you are saying? Have you looked ahead and considered the consequences? Lucifer is activating the law of sin and death with his rebellion against our way. If he should confuse them and they fail, they will be under the law of sin and death. If you become one of them, you would have to be born from a woman under the law of sin and death, just like they are. But I could start out as we will start them out, no sense of rebellion, no disease, only physical separation from you. The second, whole man, Michael countered. And to rescue them any other way, we would have to change the law, which is impossible. It ensures existence. Without the way of love, selfishness would cause death. We would have no safety. No matter who Lucifer is convincing, we know that freedom without law wouldn't be freedom at all. It would be chaos. Law establishes reality. Our agreement on the law of love, our creation of it, gave us our right to rule, our creatorship. It has to stand. The only thing that could possibly work is if one of us would take it on himself to demonstrate that sin will kill even us if we allow it to. We show it as separation from us and not us that causes death. Actually taking on their consequences for them will establish that we are telling the truth. I succeed as one of them, go through their death and take up life again, the creator for the created, taking on the responsibility of freedom for beings who aren't experienced, who haven't had time to fully know us or understand cause and effect. He paused, and there was silence. Michael studied their sad, grave faces and questioned, wouldn't that send the law of sin and death back into remission? I become one of them, live their experiences, succeed where they fail, and go through their death. They could choose my life, my obedience out of love, and then loyalty. Even though born under sin and death, they would still be able to love. Their very existence will be based on attachment working for them. Wouldn't that be the clearest demonstration of cause and effect? How could anyone watching miss that? More silence. So he continued with another point. If they understand our omnipotence, they will surely ask, why did you make us capable of failing? They must see that love requires freedom. So God takes on the law of sin and death, the responsibility for creating a world where something could go wrong, because we believe in love and freedom. Finally, Abba spoke again. It is just too expensive. As one of them, you couldn't use your power. That would be your hardest test. You would be like them. You could fail. Then Ruach asked gently, do you see another way, Abba? We created this little monster who is fast becoming a fire-breathing dragon. Perhaps we gave him too much, but nevertheless, he has used his freedom, and we knew this could happen. We knew we would be challenged someday just because they can, and that we would have to deal with it. Do you remember that we all pledged ourselves to do whatever it took to maintain the law of love, knowing the risks that come with freedom? The others nodded gravely in agreement, and he continued, Lucifer has so deceived the angels that I believe he will take as many as a third with him. We should call him Devil, bringer of death and evil. Involuntary gasps escaped the other two. As you have said, if we fight Lucifer's cohort or banish them, they will die, and we will be held responsible, even though they have chosen it. We waited to create this new order of being so he wouldn't be pushed into jealousy, but now he is jealous of Michael. We can no longer turn him back. He has totally turned against love. We can't even entirely banish him. That would risk universal misunderstanding of his death. We must keep all of them alive until things are clear, but we can't allow them to stay here any longer. We have to do something. If he is granted access to the universe, but focused on a new Earth, his contamination of the rest of the universe will be minimized. I am amazed myself that Michael is willing to do this, but it is a great plan. He has suffered more than any of us with the disaffection of Lucifer. Perhaps he thinks it can't be much worse. Oh, it will be worse, exclaimed Abba emphatically, turning to Michael. Suffering is inevitable to secure the universe and freedom, but the cost of suffering to you, to them, and to us will be beyond words to describe. Is it fair to them to create them at such a disadvantage? The whole universe will suffer just watching sin and death, and it will take a long time for the whole thing to play out. Look how long we have spent trying to reclaim Lucifer. Is there any other way? Repeated Ruach. Let's meet again tomorrow, was all Abba could say, his head in his hands, already feeling the effects of the truth they both had spoken. They sat long in silence. And that's the end of chapter 6.